So good day everyone. Our topic this or today is about the soil resources. So as we all know that soil is very important for us, not just to us but especially sa mga farmers kasi ito yung ginagamit nila in order to plant their crops. So soil is the material found on the surface of the earth that is composed of organic and inorganic materials. So according to the graph, that inorganic materials is composed of 45% in terms of the volume of the soil, while the organic is equivalent to 5%. So aside from inorganic and organic materials that can be found in the soil, we have also the water and air. So those are the very important component in order for a plant to grow. So water is mainly or mostly made of 25% and air is also 25%. So that is a soil volume of the soil. So as you can see, no, we only have 5% of the organic material. So what is the organic material pala or inorganic material? So when we say organic material are also called as humus or made of microorganism which is dead or alive. So as you all know, humus improves the soil structure. That what or it makes the plant healthy. While inorganic is composed of rock slowly broken into smaller pieces. So this inorganic is parang the product of weathering or the results of weathering. So this volume of soil, this amount depends on the quantity of the vegetative soil compaction, and the presence of water. So which means hindi lahat ng soil has the same composition or has the same volume or amount. Nakadepende ito kung gaano ka-healthy ang isang part or isang farm lot ng ating farmers, which means hindi siya constant na same yung kaniyang amount in terms of volume of the soil. So a good soil, so paano ba na natin malalaman if a soil is very good for planting? So we have it has sufficient air, water, and mineral and also an organic material that is present. So as we all know, sufficient air is very important to plants. So parang tayo din yan, it needs air for us to breathe. And also soil needs the air in order to nourish ang iyahang composition. And also water, diba? With water, the plants it helps the plants to grow. And minerals, so syempre without minerals, so dili gid healthy ang pag-grow sa ato ang mga tanom. So it is a renewable material, so a soil is also a renewable material. So last week we talked about water, we talked about energy, and all those things are all those things is renewable. And also in the energy, there are some energy that are not renewable. So well, soil, it is a renewable material because it is constantly replenished by the geologic and biological process in our environment. So even animals or the mga animals na nag-crawl sa ground, they help also. That's the reason why the soil is renewable. And when we say geologic, which means it is a natural process that is happening around us. So it helps also to make the soil renewable. So arable land. So arable means from a Latin word, arabilis means land that can be flowed, which means pwede siyang tamnan ng mga magsasaka. So arable land is the first requirement for agriculture. The reason is it has the characteristics to allow plants to grow quickly. So which means mabilis yung pag-grow ng mga pananim and acquire large of biomass, so which can be used for growing our crops. So it is one talaga of the or first requirement if your area is not an arable land, which means you can't you can't plant crops there and harvest a healthy product or healthy fruit or mga palay pag imuhang land is kulang kumbaga. So kanina 'di ba gidiscuss na ako, I mentioned already paano ba maging good soil, paano ba maging arable land. So dapat sufficient ang tanan, naa dira tanan para mag-grow ang isa ka tanom. So first, land. So a land must be an arable. So pwede ka makatanom. So a arab or a land that is not arable is nearly made of rock solid. So diba you experience ka na magtanom gud mo sa mga area nga daghan kay bato, diba lisod kaayo, lisod kay ibutang imong tanom, and also lisod pud na siya magtubo. Roots, the reason is roots cannot grow deep into the soil to reach their needed water and nutrients. So pag mabato ang iyong crop area, hindi talaga niya kumbaga, dili siya makapenetrate og ayo ang mga ugat ng mga tanim. So second, nitrogen. So it is the most essential plant nutrient. So kung kita, ang essential sa atoa is oxygen in order for us to live. So ang plant food is they need nitrogen. So as we all know, nitrogen is the most abundant abundant element present in the atmosphere. So it is needed by the plant to, as we're familiar with the nitrogen cycle, diba? The nitrogen that is present to a plant, ginakaon siya, diba, sa minsan sa mga ginakaon po nato na karne. So katong nitrogen nga nakuha niya dito mapasa sa mga cows or mga animals that eats grasses or eats mga dahon-dahon. So those nutrients ginagamit pud na sa plants, which is also needed by the soil. So aside sa makita na siya sa soil, it is also in the atmosphere, which is around 70 plus or estimate 70% of it is present in the atmosphere, and nitrogen is very important. And the third one is water cannot infiltrate the soil where it is needed by plant roots. So as you all know naman, in order for them to grow, they need talaga water. Diba last time we discussed about the water resources. So one of the very important talaga doon is water is used in agriculture, which is estimated 70% of it was used in the agriculture because of the use of sa mga pagtatanim ng palay. So kailangan talaga ng tubig. So human impact to soil. So soil is the medium where people grow their plants. So it is very understandable naman no na pag sinabi tayong soil, dun tayo agad nagtatanim aside sa naglaano tayo ng mga infrastructure or factories. So since plants are the primary producer of food, human impacts on soil have potentially deleterious consequence to the environment and to the societies, which means that the human impacts, dako kayog impact no or damage sa isa ka soil or sa isa human ang pag nasira yung ating soil, since plants is the primary producer of food, and without soil dili gid ta maka produce og food. So kuan na lang kung synthetic ang ato ang gina intake sa atong lawas. So first one is we have soil erosion. So soil erosion removes the topsoil, which is rich in organic substance. So substance or organic is a kumbaga humus, di ba? Without the humus, so in tendency hindi masyadong healthy yung tanim. It removes the layer where plant roots anchor themselves. So with the presence of soil erosion, masisira talaga yung ating pananim. Hindi sila makatubo og tarong. Kaya na-remove na tong mga substances that is very rich in terms of organic substance. As you all know naman that an organic substance help the soil to become more productive. So compaction. So diba imagine kung may compaction because of the grabe na force within the rocks or the soil, ang ending dana is dili magkaroon og dili mag-agi kumbaga ang water o ang air. Dili sila makasulod agad-agad. Kanagad for example no, if napa sa inyo nagagamit o kahoy pag magluto, matingala kang anong dili mo siga nga daghan man kagi sunlod. The reason is the air cannot kumbaga dili siya makaagi kay dili mo gud pwede nga ma-trap lang ang air inside sa apoy. So kailangan gina niya mo travel. So just like soil, if the soil is very compacted, ang ending soil loses much of its porosity, which prevent water infiltration, so reducing the quantity of water available to plants because the water and air cannot infiltrate sa soil because it is very compacted. So just like sa normal soil, mas paspas o mas better ang pag-infiltrate or pag-flow sa water and air. Salinization. Sa increased salt contents of soil reduces soil fertility. So pagtaas kaayo ang salt content sa isa ka soil, ang ending is dili maging productive. So plants with low tolerance for drought have a low tolerance for salt content. So pag ang isa daw ka plant is dili siya makasurvive sa drought, na dili pod siya makasurvive sa area which is rich in salt or salt content. So imo pag yung giyabuhan og water that it has salt. So water plus salt goes into soil. Ang ending pag na filtrate to sa plant, ang imuhang kumaga ang salt na remain magkaroon og the plants will transpire the water. So ang ending mabilin tong salt sa soil. So moong tong makadaot sa plant. Kay di ba ang water mag-evaporate man na siya because of the energy of the sun. So naay tendency na katong water which is or naay salt dito mabilin remains. So siya na ang kumbaga ma-absorb to sa plants, so ang madaot ang plants. Dili na healthy ang iyang pag-grow. Desertification. So this is very familiar to us. Fertile land becomes a desert. So tignan naman natin no yung sa picture, dati ang healthy pa ng ating terraces or ating pananiman, but today because of kulang baga sa kulang sa tubig or kulang sa nutrients, kaya nag-drought or nauga, kumbaga nauga ang tamnanan. So fertile land becomes or the nutrients or nutrient deficient and flood easily erode soil, and the top layer contains a little moisture. Kapag ganito na ang hitsura ng ating pananim, it's very hard not to grow crops or to plant our crops kasi mahirapan na silang mabuhay. And ang ending niyan, ang laki-laki na ng gastos ng mga farmers, tapos wala pang tamang nutrisyon ang mga pananim at tubig, so ending malulugi na naman agad sila. Malulugi na naman yung in terms of agriculture, and magle-less yung supply natin because of the impacts, because of the because anong nangyayari sa ating mga kalupaan. So whatever happens, kung may nangyari sa mga soil or yung labi na kung naamoy palayan, kung unsay mahitabo dira, dako kay na siya impact sa tao. Like the compaction, the desertification, the salinization. So kung ang plants maapektuhan ana, kita tanan damay. Kay without the crops of the farmers, without sa ilang ginapananom sa palayan, people maglisod jud og survive. Kumbaga dito magsugod ang scarcity of food. So human activities that impacts the soil. So these are the impacts that affects the quality and quantity of soil. So first one, farming. So most of the farmers use fertilizer to improve harvest. So kita man jud no tanan, bisan pa nag-imong tinanom diya sa balay kay simple lang, isa lang nakalutihan, nagtanom kag kamatis, you still use magamit yapon ka og fertilizer para nindot ang iyahang pagbunga o pagtubo. So organic fertilizer release nutrients needed by plant in various stages of growth and development. So that's the reason why daghan kayo organic fertilizer nga nakadepende kung unsa na ka na stages sa imuhang pagplant. Like sa mga farmers, like sa mga palayan, sa mga maisan, dili sa tibuok pagpadako nila or pag-alaga nila sa ilang tanom, same lang ang ilang ginagamit na fertilizer, but they use variety of fertilizers. So it improves the structure of soil and increase its ability to hold water and nutrients. So yun yung kumbaga rule ng mga fertilizers. So chemical or inorganic fertilizer leads to the accumulation of toxic materials such as arsenic and cadmium in the soil. So that's the reason why, di ba, mag-adto taog ka ng mga palengke or mag-adto tag mall, they always say na magpili gid ka katong mga plants nga dili kaayo hamis. Nganuman, the reason is katong mga plants nga or mga gulay, mga nang ginabaligya sa palengke, di ba? Kita as consumer, mamili man jud tag mga tanom nga gwapa, hamis, way tatsa. Pero kumbaga para mabalaan ninyo kung too much ba ang gigamit na fertilizer, mabalaan ninyo ipang isa ka tanom is very hamis. Isa na siya sa timailhan nga too much ang gigamit na fertilizers. So that's the reason na pagpalit nato hugasan gid niya og ayo no kay nagadikit pa dito ang mga gigamit na mga toxic materials na pwede nato ma-intake o kita pod ang madaot. Number 2 is grazing. So there are areas here in Jansan na ginagamit nila as kanang ginatigwayan nila og mga hayop like cows, sheep, carabaos, labi na tong mga animals that eat mostly or 90% of it is grass. So the soil becomes directly exposed to sunlight which reduces its moisture. So frequent trampling by grazing animals overturns the soil which break masses of soil into tinier fragments. So kapag naubos yung grass sa soil, ang ending dira is magbugdol-bugdol naman ng soil and also mas paspas sila masira. So if you go to mga provinces wherein na sila yung mga ginabuhi na mga hayop, labi isa sa ilang business is poultry or na sila grazing of animals. So pag na-over yan siya, masisira talaga yung soil. Tingala ka na upaw ng isa ka soil or isa ka area kasi naubos na yung grass, then it leads to erosion. Then another one is construction. So very halata nga if there is construction, it requires talaga pagbubungkal ng lupa. It requires digging and overturning the soil. So fragmented soil is easily eroded. So ma-erode by wind and water and is often deposited in rivers and lakes which turn them into mud. So because of construction, isa talaga sa kung isa sa masira or isa sa top yun nga makuan hilabtan pag there is a construction kay ang soil. So heavy machines that enter and leave construction site also contribute to soil compaction. Diba? Ang mga machines dagko man kay na, so ilahang weight nakadagdag sila sa compaction sa soil. The more na mag-compact ang soil kapag merong mga heavy na mga construction na mga machines. So just like yung mga ginagamit nila sa mga dagko, yung kayo ng mga tanggiligera. So it results to compaction of soil. And also we have mining. So very halata nga pag naay mina, soil ang isa sa apektuhan. Strip mining and open pit mining required removing huge quantities of plants and soil so that material or ores can be collected. So labi na nabimina ng mga gold, ng mga mineral, or mga gold, any material or metals, kailangan talaga nilang bungkalin yung lupa. Kailangan lang sirain yung plants or yung lupa. And the collected soil is stored into embankment dams to contain mine tailings. So minsan iniiwan na lang mga companies na nagmimina kapag nakuha na nila yung gusto. Kaya ang daming area sa Pilipinas na napapabayaan na lang results of mining. And also waste disposal. So, pagtatapon ng basura. The most visible waste we see in our environment is plastic containing potentially harmful chemical which leach out and contaminate the soil and water. Aside sa plastic material kills animals in the kumbaga sa aquatic life, it also kill our soil. It contaminates the soil. Kasi ang mga plastic contain toxic material. So, anong na may toxic material sa plastic para makasurvive sila for how many years. So, that's the reason nga kailangan natin magkaroon ng methods of disposal or solid waste disposal and management. Kasi yung mga plastic, pwede pa man natin yung ibenta after. So, ma-recycle pa yung iba. So, hindi yung isang asa na lang natin panlabay ato ang mga waste, no? Mga waste product, lalo na yung plastic. So, bisang unsa nga type sa plastic, it will harm the society. It will harm you, it will harm the soil, it will harm anyone. Gamay lang kay na imong na-contribute pero dako na kay kag na hatag kumaga. Gamay lang imong na-contribute sa basura pero dako na kay imong nahatag sa pagkaguba sa ato ang planeta. So think about that. Dili ta maging pabaya sa ato ang environment. Kasi at the end, tayo rin ang magsisisi. Dili ta kumbaga pasagdan na lang nato ang tanan. Ay, okay, plastic ra bitaw ni dugay pa ni siya madaot ba mapulot ra ni sa mga basurero. So what's the use of our brain kung ato lang man maging pabaya lang man di ay ta. So wag nating pabayaang masira ang ating komunidad, masira ang ating Mother Earth kasi wala nang kumbaga wala na ma-enjoy ang ating future generation. So ways to conserve soil. So, first one is crop rotation. So, as you can see in the picture, so, kumbaga, sa bed 1, tomato, sa bed 2, legumes, and bed 3, carrot. So, pagka year 2, i-reshuffle na po sila. Kumbaga, exchange sila. So, different crops are planted into different part of the fields in different years or in different season. This allow part of the field to recover its nutrients para dili mahurot ang tanan nga nutrients nga naa sa isa ka soil. It is a good way to help the soil return to its original. So, isa sa gamitan dapat is the crop rotation. So, as you can see in the picture, sa year 1 tomato, pagka year 2, ang carrot na sad ang gibutang sa gitamnan sa tomato. Tapos pagka year 3, ang legumes na sila. Kumbaga, ilis-ilis sila, depende sa year or depende sa season. Kung dapat inani ang pagkagamit sa lupa para dili mahurot kumbaga dili makuha tanan sa isa lang ka plants or dili mahurot sa isa lang ka isa ka field ang nutrients and also in order to return ma-recover pud ang nutrients nga naa sa isa ka field. Conservation tillage, di ba minsan mga maisan, tubuhan, palayan, ginabiyaan na lang di ba nato mga after nato mag-harvest di ba sagbot na kaayo. So sometimes this technology requires leaving crop residue on the soil undisturbed for as long as possible. So after harvest pasagdan sa nimo dira kay para i-absorb niya. This is done to give microbes enough time to break down plant into organic compounds and will leach into the soil as nutrients. So because of the microbes or microorganism, this will help na ilahatong i-break down ang compound ganaa sa resulta sa inyong pag-harvest sa inyong crops. And katong compounds or organic compounds, mubalik to siya sa soil. I-absorb to ulit sa soil. So that's the reason why na after harvest, wala dayon nato ginakolekta atong mga hinarvest na mga parts sa mais, palay, or unsa pa na dira nga crops. Terracing. So terracing is diba sa ifugaw. So, asayan banda yung sa mga ano na maifugaw. Terracing is turning a field into a flat steps to manage the flow of water for irrigation. So because of this type, murag pa hagdan pala yan. So ang reason diri is para sa irrigation, para sa tubig. Maunong inani ang iyahang resulta. Na today we appreciate na the beauty sa ilahang effort. But nowadays, nababayaan na nila kasi wala namang tubig. Ang ending yung soil is hindi na healthy kasi alam naman natin na hindi sila gumagamit ng crop rotation, ang ending talaga is mauubos yung nutrients sa soil. Kapag kulang kapag di nila dinagdagan. So we all know na nahihirapan din yung mga farmer kasi hindi sila masyado tinututukan ng mga local government. So, one of the important sa soil is water. And without water and without nutrients, plant can grow. Dili ka makaharvest dira og mga 10 kasako. Contour flowing. Flowing hills, its contour lines, the field are flowed at right angles with the direction of the slope to prevent the formation of gullies where water runoff flows. So this also reduce the soil erosion. So may gullies, may kanang marag mahibuhatan gud siya agianan sa tubig. So morning reason nganong lailahi og lines. Base kan si the picture na ay ato sa pikas na ay adto diri in different angles. So in order to prevent the formation of water. Kay ang samang good because of isa lang kadalan, isa lang ka area ang tubig mag-create siya sarili niyang dalan. So when there is a gullis na ma-form, mahila hinoon niya ang nutrients nga naa sa soil. Kay may mo naman to siya murag gamay na sapa-sapa. So makuha niya tanan ang nutrients tapos wala na hinuon imong crops og nutrients. So wind breaks. So barrier strata or three strata barrier and dominant wind. So as you can see in the picture, a rows of trees and shrubs planted between the field to break the force of wind that carries soil. So as we all know that wind is one of the agent of erosion. So this is one way in order to help the soil remain its nutrients. So for example, the crops, ayan the crops, and this is the barrier. This barrier helps to intact the soil nutrients. Kasi pag wala tong plants, dumaan yung dominant wind, mahihila lahat yung nutrients na meron ng isang soil. So, ang ending niyan, mawawala lahat ng nutrients meron ng isang area kasi malakas yung hangin. So, always remember, one of the agent is the water wind. So, dito sa Pilipinas, isa ito sa agent ng erosion na sumisira ng ating lupa. So, that's all for today. So, I hope you understand about all the soil erosion, how the soil help us is a consumer. So, as you all know, class, soil is very important. You know why? Because without the soil, there's no plant or there's no crop to plant. Kasi yung tao is nakadepende talaga sa mga tinatanim ng ating mga farmers. So we must support our farmers. Sila na nga yung nahihirapan, sila pa yung gutom. And most of the farmers, wala silang pagmamayari na lupa. So I hope we appreciate things that exist. Lalo na yun ang paghihirap ng mga farmers. And soil, huwag natin masyadong gamitan ng mga different toxic materials kasi nakakasira din ito ng kalupaan. So always remember that a soil help grow crops, help anything for us to survive. So it is mostly made of organic or inorganic materials. And always remember a good sufficient or a good soil has a sufficient air, water, mineral, and organic material for them to survive and for us to eat. So, kasi nga, pag walang lupa, walang pagkain. So, that's all for today. God bless and goodbye.